Hey there, welcome to the Tech Tuesdays webinar on Lineage of Databricks in EDC. I'm Brinda and I'll be hosting today's webinar. The presenter for this session is Sachin Jain, an Informatica veteran from the Customer Success Technologies team, handling enterprise data governance, enterprise data catalog, Axon, and data quality products with more than 12 years of experience. Before we start this webinar, let's go through some housekeeping tips. This webinar will be for 1 hour. That includes a 45 minutes webcast, and then we will roll over to live for 15 minutes to answer your queries. You can post your questions in the Q&A box and we'll try and answer them throughout the webinar as well as the 15 minutes after the webinar. All dial-in participants will be muted so that the presenter can present without any kind of interruptions. The session is being recorded and will be available in the Informatica Support YouTube channel and the Success portal. The link for the recording will also be sent to you. You can also put in your feedbacks and suggestions in the survey that follows, and let us know about the future topics that you prefer for our Tech Tuesdays webinars. The Tech Tuesdays webinars is a webinar series introduced within the Success portal. The Informatica Success portal is a micro-learning platform that offers free and unlimited learning to all registered users. The Success portal will show up your success offerings, your customer success manager information, and bookings available in the Ask an Expert session. You will also get customized recommendation and content. Here are a few important links that you can go over later that will help you in your product adoption journey. Over to you, Sachin. Thank you.
Thanks, Rhonda. Thanks for the introduction. And thanks all for attending the session, today's session, that is lineage. How do we see the lineage of Databricks data tables, which is being used in BDM or DEI mapping. So that how do we extract those details, and then we'll show in enterprise data catalog the complete lineage of simple mapping on this today's demo. Okay, let's move on. The agenda would be very simple. I'll just give some sort of brief examples of business use cases, and then how do we configure the cluster and other details at the the DEI side of it, that is an admin console, and the mapping details, a simple mapping, how do we define that, and then those things has to be extracted in EDC. The scanner configurations, so the Informatica platform configurations at the enterprise data catalog, and finally I'll show you the same thing on the demo side, right? So this would be some sample business use case which I'm going to tell about. See, the main use cases are suppose if you have already developed kind of rules, or a few customers have an intentions of going from on-prem data warehouses to some sort of cloud. So as an emerging technologies, right? So, and the other one would be the the legacy systems which are available, right? So few customers or the few organization has some sort of legacy systems which is in place, and they wanted to replace those things to a newer technology, say the cloud and data lake warehouse, right, kind of thing. So, and the other one would be even if they are moved to the latest technologies, and if a business user wanted to see that, what would be our upstream and then downstream systems, right? So how the data is moving from source to target, so that would help them to resolve so much of issues or concerns what they have. Everything is visible at a single page, right? So that would give a basic understanding of where the data is starting, and then how does the logic has been applied, and then where it is going to. That would be our target one. So in our simple demo and today's sessions, which I am showing you here on the Databricks side, especially on the basically dealing with the data table as a source as well as target for that. Yeah. So this is what on the clusters, Databricks cluster has to be should be up and running, and then the cluster configuration as well as the JDBC connection details has to be given at the admin console, which is our BDM or DEI side of it, right? So Informatica platform should get all these details of clusters as well as the Databricks JDBC connection. And the simple mapping, which uses delta tables as a source and target here, which I'm showing it here on the diagram. So that's a simple mapping which I've taken for the demo. And remember, the mapping should be deployed to an application. That is very much required because the deployed applications, the mappings deployed in the applications, those things will be extracted at the enterprise data catalog. So these are all the details, the fundamentals of it actually. So, what are the cluster details? How do we configure at the admin console? And then how do we define at the developer tool as well as deploy to an application to extract at the EDC side? Yeah. And then this would be the scanner details, BDM, EDI scanner details. The resource type is Informatica platform. We need to select this is at the enterprise data catalog side. And what I'm highlighting is another side of it, like my applications, which the mapping has been deployed to that, right? So this would be at the main priorities. And then if you could see, data integration service connection details, where you have all the details of the Informatica platform, username and password, hostname, and the port number. Right, all these details has to be given in the scanner details, and the metadata load settings, the configurations or auto assignment connections as well as enable resource reference resources. So this is very much important. Even though you don't have the connection details scanned at the enterprise data catalog, so when you enable the reference resources, it extracts the source as well as the targeted details, the connection details, just by looking at the mapping details. So from the BDM side of it, right? So it extracts, EDC extracts those details as well, and then it puts as a reference resources in EDC. And finally, it makes an auto assignment connections, and then to see the complete lineage of it. So that is very much required. These are all the configurations for the Informatica platform configurations on EDC. And finally, when we run this one, so it takes some time to complete that, and then so this is what you can monitor at the EDC side. What is the progress of it, and once it completes, it shows like this, right? Yeah, I was talking about the reference resources. So this is one of the examples which I've extracted in EDC. See, the BDM scanner has extracted this one as a reference resources Databricks JDBC connection from the mapping details, right? So that is shown here. And this one was the connection assignment in the EDC itself. If you go to the connection assignment, if you see the auto assign connection, it has two options also. Use even without providing those details at the scanner side, so that user can assign once the scanner is completed. So that is like a user assigned connections and auto assign connections. So if you don't need to manual interaction, so enable that auto assign connections. So once the scanner completes, right? So it has extracted the reference resources. The same reference resources gets auto assign connections will be done for that particular mappings, right? So this is on the auto assign connections on the reference resources. And finally, you could see the complete lineage. So this is what the summary of the lineage for that, the delta tables, which I've showed as a mapping, and then end-to-end lineage. When you wanted to see the complete lineage with some sort of the table level fields are associated to that, right? So as I mentioned, so I have not provided any details at the Databricks side. So still, it has extracted the delta tables, the metadata of the delta tables, and then the complete mapping as well as the lineage of it, right? So this is on it. Let's move to the demo. Let's get into the demo part. So here is the Databricks, which is hosted on Microsoft Azure. So, and this is what the cluster is, which I've created a simple cluster for this one, for the demo itself. So these are all the details of, the Databricks cluster. So have your own configuration. Okay, so this is what the number of nodes which is showing here, right? And you can go and then see it at the event logs also, and then it has driver logs. This guy, I think these logs are, you guys are pretty much known. And there is some more options at the advanced options. This is what is required for the JDBC, connection or not, right? So I'll tell you why these informations are required at the BDM mapping side and all. Yeah. So this is what on the cluster side, and I would like to show you on the delta tables. These are all the delta tables which we do have, and then I'm going to use this the contact tables as my source in our the BDM mapping. Yeah, and one more thing which I would like to show you on the the token generation, right? So because this token is also very much useful during the configurations of the connections in the BDM. So whenever we need it, so probably we'll generate this new token, and then we do use the same thing in the connection details. I'll show you a little bit later. Yeah, these are all the details on the cluster side. Databricks cluster side. This is required, for the runtime execution. Okay. So now let's get into the BDM side of it. So in the admin console, I'll show you what all the configurations are required here. So this is what the cluster configuration for the Databricks we need to configure one. Yeah, so these are all the informations which we need to provide for the cluster configuration. All the cluster details has to be given here. And after that, JDBC connection has to be created. So for the Databricks only. So this is what the the one which I showed as advanced option in the cluster. So here at the advanced option, JDBC details were there, right? So these are all the JDBC details which have given it here at the correction string. Okay. And the access token which I've showed here, the details here, the user settings. This is what the token which I'm going to use it here at the access token level. Okay, so this is how the configurations at the BDM admin console. Okay, so let's get into the developer tool. I'll show you the simple mapping which I've created. So let's get into the Databricks one. The connection which we have extracted as source, that is the contact table. Okay. Since the connection is created at the admin console, so you will get it by right click and then get those details here. Let's get into the simple mapping, which I've created. This is as the contact table, and then it is going to the target. It's a very simple, the mapping. So and then you need to configure this at the runtime. So this is what the the cluster details has to be provided here. Yep. So and also the target once you create, right? So suppose if you open the target also, I'll show you on the advanced properties. You need to configure this the connection details as well, right? So JDBC connection. Okay, so these are all the the information has to be given here. Okay, so and then you this is very much important for the the environment. It is Databricks. Okay, so it gets executed on this Databricks cluster. Yeah, so and then validate this, and then once it is validated, right? So create an application. So this is very much important. So right click and then deploy to your application, and then make sure that your mapping is available here in this particular application. Yeah, this is very much important because when the enterprise data catalog scans it, so it looks for the application only. Yeah, so these are all the details of the developer client side. So how do we create a mapping, and then how do we deploy it, right? How do we get these connections here? and then make use of this delta tables, right? So as a source and target now. So these are all the details. Let's get into the enterprise data catalog side. So this is what at the BDM side. So now we will move on to the enterprise data catalog. So this is the early amendment. So let's move to the resources which have already scanned. So I've provided all the details for that, right? So this is what the BDM's details. So let's get into edit mode. Additional properties is not required. So this is what the resource type is. Resource type, it's Informatica platform, and provide all these details actually. So where is the BDM, and then what is the username and password, and then what is the host, and then what is the port, and then basically what is the application name. So if you select here, right, so it will give you the complete information about the applications, and then make sure that application mapping TB new is the one which I'm going to try now. Okay, make sure that your application is available in that one, and then you have selected that. And a little bit on the metadata load settings. So detailed lineage is required, and then as well as the auto-assign connection, and then enable reference resources. So enable reference resources is again the connections which are not available at the EDC enterprise data catalog, right? So the mapping, if they have different connection details, that could be Oracle, SQL Server, or anything, right? Even though you don't have the connections created at the EDC, so it's basically scanned that resources. So now you are scanning the mapping which has the connections, now what I'm using it as a Databricks delta table. So even if you could have any other resources, so probably it will extract those details as a reference resources, and then it auto assign to that particular mapping, so that entire lineage can be see at the enterprise data catalog level. Okay, so that I'll show you. See, let's go to the connection assignment. Suppose if you go here at the connection details, BDM Sachin. So so this is here. BDM Sachin, and then Databricks. This is a reference resources actually, and then this is what the auto assign connection has happened actually. So if you want to see the reference resources, so this is what the reference resources for the particular scanner, and then if you could see this Databricks JDBC connection default, right? So this got extracted as a reference resources because I'm just providing the BDM details, not the connection details, to extract my the mapping which I've created over there, so that I wanted to see the lineage, but I'm not given any connection details anywhere actually. So it finds the connection details and it has extracted as a reference resources. This is what the reference resources for the particular mapping, and then it auto assigns to that. Okay, so these are all these are all the details on the reference resources, and how does it assigns to that, right? So let's get into the the catalog page, and then now you could see say Databricks. Search it, and then you'll see these details. Let's get into the default delta default, right? So it has these are all the reference data assets. So you use how the connection got extracted over there, and also the metadata is extracted as a reference data set in the enterprise data catalog. Remember, you have not provided any details about that, right? So still it has extracted based on the mapping details it has taken, and then there from the BDM, and it has extracted here and then showing it at the enterprise data catalog. So now what I've said, if you could see here in the mapping, the source details, right? So this is what the source one. Contact table has been used. So what I'll do is, this is what the table, I'll just go here. See, these are all the metadata it has extracted actually. Let's go to the lineage part of it actually. So it will show you the complete lineage. This is what the basic lineage. So if you need the complete lineage of it, so click on here. You will see the complete lineage of it, and also we can select some sort of ports right? So that it creates the complete lineage, and then it show it in better way. So this is how it has extracted the complete lineage from a BDM mapping you created using the Databricks and Delta tables as a source and target, and then a simple scanner you run it at the enterprise data catalog side. So when you run that, it automatically extracts the reference resources and it auto assigns the connections to that particular mapping, right? And then when you see at the catalog, so go to that particular table and then go to that particular lineage, right? So it will show you where, if it is a source or a target, right? If it's a source, then it leads to a target, then it will show you a complete lineage of the mapping which you created at the BDM side. Yeah. So this is what the simple, example which I wanted to show you. How do we extract those details from the Databricks and then show it at the enterprise data catalog level, the complete lineage of it. So when you have used delta tables of Databricks in a BDM mapping, actually, yeah. So this is what the simple thing. So thanks, thank you for attending this session.
Hey everyone, please post your questions in the Q&A box and we'll try and answer them. Yeah, we have one question from Madhusudan Sachin. Can EDC scan Databricks Spark code which moves data source to target delta tables instead of through DEI?
So currently through DEI we have given, so that is in the plan to get all the Spark codes to see the complete lineage within Databricks itself.
Okay, thank you. Next question from Cindy. What about lineage from SQL-based data movement in Databricks? How does EDC extract that information?
Correct. So this is also possible. So even if you don't provide the SQL, the connection details, or it could be from anywhere, from like SQL Server or from Oracle. So those connections will be extracted as a reference resource. Then the complete lineage will be shown.
Okay, thank you. Next question from Madhusudan again. DEI uses personal access token to authenticate with Azure Databricks, but if personal access is disabled due to security issues within banks, will there be any alternate way to connect DEI with Databricks?
Currently, no. So we have to provide the token details. Otherwise, it will not be recognized. So, which one is the cluster actually, right? So those details has to be, it is mandatory actually.
Okay. Next question from Madhusudan again. What is roadmap for Spark code lineage from Databricks?
We do have some sort of info for 10.5, which will be releasing in first half of 2021. So, but yeah, so we need to wait for the PM announcement on that. But there is a consideration of all these things. Please wait for the complete details to ship out actually. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sachin. You can post your questions in the Q&A box if you have any queries. Sachin and Rakesh are at the back end to answer your questions. The recording for the session will be available in the Informatica Success portal. Next question from Bhupati Sachin. Is it possible to process parallel hub?
Could you please provide some more details on this?
Yeah, Bhupati, could you please elaborate on your question? Another question from Srinivas Sachin. Are there any ports to be opened up to enable the JDBC connection from the EDC server host?
We will definitely answer this question looking at some sort of document. So we'll park this for question actually, Runda. Yeah.
From EDC, no, Sachin.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We have another question from Parash. What is the functionality of connection assignment?
So see, connection assignment is it auto assigned connection? If it is auto assignment connection on the EDC side, so the functionality is like the source and target which is available at the mapping server, right? So those will be extracted as the reference resources. Then the connection will be given to that to see the complete lineage of it. So that's how the functionality works. You can have manual as well as automatic. So if you need to have manual one, so probably you need to create, assign it once the scanning is done. Otherwise, automatic is provided. So it looks at the mapping details and then it assigns the connection.
Okay, thank you. I think we have another question from Sharavanan and Rakesh is answering that.
Runda?
Yeah, let's call that question out. I thought Rakesh would be answering that. Sorry.
Okay.
So Sharavanan's question goes like this. In my project, we pulling metadata from Oracle 10C, but it's taking longer time, but no ONI test connection succeeded. No metadata created.
So it is taking longer time, but only test connection succeeded. So yeah, so probably we need please log a customer support ticket for this one. So because we need to debug why it is taking longer time and why it is not extracting the metadata.
Thank you, Sachin. We have another question from Madhusudan. Can EDC pull physical sources from Delta Lake tables?
Physical sources, I would need some more information on this. Is that, Madhusudan, are you talking about Databricks Delta Lake tables? So let's see. We need some sort of information on that.
Maybe
Madhusudan,
metadata
could you
and
please-
profiling results, Sachin. They can do using JDBC connection.
Yeah.
In EDC. I'm hoping that is what Madhusudan question is. Yes. You can use JDBC connection. That Delta Lake native drivers are not available. You need to use JDBC connection and then do metadata extraction.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Rakesh. Let's wait for 5 more minutes. Please post your questions in the Q&A box. After this webinar, please put in some time to fill up the survey and your thoughts on the upcoming topics for the Tech Tuesdays webinars. Yeah, Madhusudan has elaborated as question. Right now, it is showing as reference data sources in Lineage. How can we show it as a connection to physical sources?
So we need to create a JDBC resource and then extract Delta Lake tables into EDC. Then they will become physical objects in EDC.
Yeah. So Madhusudan, currently we don't have direct connections, native connections for the Databricks. So please use JDBC connection to extract those physical resources.
Okay, hope we answered that question, Madhusudan. Next question from Sharavanan. Is EDC involved in AL and ML for background? How does it connect to data?
We usually don't deal with data. There is a class which works on the backend engine. So for AL, okay. So but it's like not up to the mark like what you guys are looking for the AL and ML kind of thing, but it has its own limitations as well. So briefly, we don't touch the data only for the profiling, and which is supported resources. We are touching only for the profile results. Looking at metadata as well as data for data domain discoveries as well. So apart from that, we don't touch data for that. Yeah.
Thank you. We have another suggestion from Cindy. She would like to see a demo and more information regarding the use of the generic JDBC connectivity for reflecting SQL and Spark-based lineage. Can we take this up in our future sessions?
Yeah, that would be in the future that we can take it. But as of now, don't expect the Spark-based lineage. So still, it is in it is in the roadmap. So probably we'll update you guys once it is available. Yeah.
Sure. We'll definitely look into it, Cindy. Thank you. There is another question from Parash. Once we create a resource, how we can create lineage between two resources, or does it create lineage automatically?
Yeah, so if you have resource already in place, it takes that connection details as well as, and then it automatically applies to that particular lineage. If not, it takes as a reference resources.
Okay, thank you. Looks like we have answered most of the questions, Sachin. We don't have any new questions coming in. So if you have failed to answer any of your questions, or if you felt it was not sufficient, please write to us in our survey that follows. Thank you for joining this webinar. Again, Sachin and Rakesh, thank you for setting this time up for the webinar. Thanks a lot. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you, and see you on our next Tech Tuesdays. Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.